Oh, no.
You're live.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello,
hello everybody.
Woo!
Woo! Slushy.
Slushies! Because who doesn't love this slushy?
Who doesn't love a great slushy?
It's a Wednesday. It's a pick-me-up day.
So, I just came from a Star Trek premiere for the season 2 finale of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which is the best Star Trek in New Trek of live action Star Trek. It was a really great episode. It was intense. It was shocking. It was scary. It was great, and I loved it. And it sucks we got to wait 2 years for season 3 because of the writer's strike and the SAG strike, but that's not their fault. It's the studio's not giving them what they want, what they need to survive. And so, yeah, it's going to be a 2-year wait. See, and because post-productions are so long because of the CGI and the production and everything that they do now, it's like a long wait between seasons. Like when Best of Both Worlds happened in 1990, it just ruined the summer. Like, no spoilers, but the finale to season 2 of Strange New Worlds, it's ruined 2 years. Luckily, I have other shows I get to watch, to bide my time.
Do tell.
I'm going to be watching season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, which comes out in January.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to hate watch it or not. I just know it's not going to be great. It's probably going to not be a good season. It's probably going to not even, I hope it ends well. Maybe it'll end in a way where it sets up a movie that no one's going to watch in theaters. Like,
I will
who's going to watch it?
I will confess. Discovery has been disappointing for me. I grew up watching Star Trek with my mother, so.
And the problem with Star Trek Discovery is not the politics or the wokeness, even though the show is like wears its politics way on its sleeve, in a way where, Star Trek has historically been very liberal and progressive, but the Star Trek Discovery wears everything on its sleeve. It's like in your face, but that's not the problem. The problem with Discovery was that there was never a clear focus with that show. What Brian Fuller wanted is not what the studios wanted. So they got 2 showrunners that didn't know anything about Star Trek, were not Star Trek fans, and that Brian Fuller had hired to replace him. And they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And season 1 was an absolute clusterfuck, and season 2 wasn't much better.
Sounds like they hired people who hate the series to destroy it intentionally.
Well, they wanted, there was too many cooks in the kitchen. That was the problem with Discovery. Like, CBS wanted the show to be like The Walking Dead. They wanted it to be like Game of Thrones. They wanted it to be like Star Wars.
The problem
because Star Trek audience is it's a big audience, but it's not a huge audience. It's more of a cult. It's not as huge as Star Wars or superhero movies, Marvel, DC, or whatever else. And so they wanted Star Trek Discovery to appeal to that audience, to bring that audience in, instead of appealing to Star Trek fans who are going to be the only ones who are going to be watching it every week. Like, only Star Trek fans are going to be watching it.
It's almost as if they're not able to follow the successful formulas that were before it. And it's disappointing as studios do this. And it's not the fault of a lot of creatives, though a number of creatives are to blame.
Yeah.
Though it's also to the showrunners, to the writers. Animators can be blamed to a degree, but not for a lot of problems.
It's just Paramount. That's the problem. Well, it was CBS's problem in the 2010s, but the 90s and early 2000s, Paramount basically ran the franchise into the ground because there was a big burnout. People were losing interest because of Rick Berman screwing everything up. But it was also the fact that they were trying to use Enterprise to also appeal to people that weren't Star Trek fans, which is why they were putting so much sexual content. They were sexualizing the Vulcan female character. They were having all this partial nudity and weird shit going on, trying to appeal to a bunch of juvenile delinquents who are horny all the time. They are not into Star Trek, and they were trying to appeal to those people. And it was stupid. The writing was shit in Enterprise. And it's still the worst Star Trek show I've ever seen. It's even worse than Discovery, and Discovery is not that good. But Discovery's problem was the same problem as Enterprise, was the studio heads trying to appeal to other people that are not interested in Star Trek, instead of just trying to appeal to that core audience. But they also
idea that they want to get this modern audience. I want to say this briefly, and I want to say this very directly. That doesn't exist.
They were also seeing the writing on the wall because while Star Trek Next Generation was hugely popular. I mean,
I enjoyed it.
by
I really
season 5, it was averaging 12 million viewers a week, and that's the live viewers. That doesn't include syndication or people watching it repeatedly during the week or whatever else. I mean, by 1994 is when Star Trek is at the height of its popularity. Toy revenue is crazy up the wazoo. TNG is super popular. They did there was a stadium in Toronto in Canada that sold 40,000 tickets for people to watch the series finale, and it was televised on national TV in Canada, and it was just a massive event, right? That was the height of the popularity. By 1999, the viewership for Star Trek shows was going down. Like Deep Space Nine, it had fans that loved that show a lot, but there were also people who were polarized. And then there were people who couldn't keep up with the show because it was becoming more and more serialized with each season. By season 5, 6, and 7, you couldn't miss an episode. You had to watch every episode to get the gist of what's going on. And by the end of season 7, it was averaging 5 million viewers a week, maybe 6 million viewers a week. Yep. Not great for network TV. And Star Trek Voyager, by the end of season 7, was averaging 5 million viewers a week. It was about the same. And that's not great. And so that's why they made. It wasn't
great, but
that's not good for network TV.
I will say this though,
especially for expensive shows.
Voyager was, I would say, it was better than Deep Space Nine.
No, it was not.
To a degree,
Voyager was great, but DS9 was way better.
I enjoyed Voyager a little bit more.
Okay.
I enjoyed Voyager a little bit more, but that's because the premise of being lost in a whole nother sector that was nowhere near anything what was known to the Federation. It had a lot of ground to work with, and they were able to explore on that.
And they could have done that, but as great as it was, the problem was Rick Berman always hitting the reset button. It's like, this is a ship that's in the middle of nowhere. There's no star bases. There's no nothing. And there's a ship that takes a lot of damage in almost every episode. And then the next episode, everything is perfectly fine. But they're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to help them. And this is where that show could have benefited from a serialized story arc in that sense. When they get confronted by the Borg.
Which one? The Borg Cube?
The Borg. The Borg in the end of season 3, where the Scorpion part 1 and 2. Okay. And remember that the Borg was getting their asses handed to them by species 8479. And they
oh yes
and
that they could not assimilate.
That could have been like a long story arc for seasons that would have made sense where
if they were to expand on that whole story for Scorpion,
right? But where
Janeway,
but what they could have done in season 4 and 5, right? Janeway and Voyager could have negotiated with the Borg, which is what they did. But this could have been a longer arc where the species just don't go away. They don't really get defeated. They're just still coming back, right? Where Voyager negotiates the Borg, we will help you take out species 8472 or help you go to war with them if you give us some of your technology to help us to fix our ship if we take damage, but also to return home as well. That could have been great. And they could have gone through all the Borg space for a season or two. And they could have seen a whole side of the Borg for 50 episodes, right? And it could have really, really 25. Worked. Well, there was 26 episodes in each season. But I'm saying they could have gone, it could have still been episodic while the main story arc is dealing with the Borg and species 8472. And they could have gone from different planets that are taken by the Borg, and there could have been some issues. There could have been some moral stuff. So they could have still hit the reset button. But the consistent line is Borg and the species, and both of them kind of being a threat, even though the Borg are helping Voyager and Voyager is helping the Borg in their own way. But
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right, exactly.
That was followed.
Yeah.
The thing is,
that could have been good. That could have been something
to explore on it. And then on top of that,
they did nothing like that.
7 of 9 would have had a much bigger character arc in that sense. That whole sense. And she was other than the oh well, I'm just bored. I'm bored.
And Janeway in 7 had the most character development. 7 had the most in terms of a serialized arc. 7 had the most development of everybody on that show.
Well, to be honest, she was human as a child who was assimilated into the Borg collective. And then they tried. Then she was being the programmer, and she was running more to her human self.
Garrett Wong's character remains an ensign the whole time.
Yes, I was a little disappointed though.
It's only because Rick Berman didn't even like the guy. So
Well, now you know who the biases come from.
Exactly.
Rick Berman should not be allowed near
but the point is that DS9 and Voyager, the ratings were going down, and these shows Rick Berman could see were getting more expensive. Back in the 90s, these shows were costing 3 to 5 million viewers an episode, and these are 26 episodes. So if you do the math, these shows were really expensive every season.
Yes.
And so with the viewership is going down and the costs are going up, there needed to be a change. And so Rick Berman thought doing tits and ass would have saved the ratings. And it didn't. Instead, the ratings kept going down, and the show got canceled after 4 seasons because season 4 was averaging 2.5 million viewers a week,
it's not just
which
that.
is shit.
It's you.
That is absolute shit back in the 2000s.
He what is the word? He tarnished, or he technically disrespected fans by providing them something that was not to the essence of the core, that is Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek isn't known for having tits and ass. I mean, you have women that have nice outfits,
and there wasn't any literal nudity in the show, but there was a lot of sexualization that was so juvenile.
There was a lot of juvenile implications to a large degree that felt not only out of place, it felt forced, and it felt as if it truly felt it was not. It had no place at all. Is what it felt like. For instance, you know where your fork is. You have your fork. You're going to use it. For some reason, you have 200 forks, and you have no idea what the fuck you're going to do with that. That's just how it felt. It's like, what the fuck you do 200 forks on a plate of soup?
Yeah, and
soup and a fork don't mix.
Yeah, and the that was the problem with Enterprise, and Star Trek Discovery just had the problem of too many producers, too many cooks in the kitchen, and too many people wanting it to be everything else but Star Trek.
See,
they tried to pivot.
The way the kitchen should work. The way the kitchen should work. To
and that's
my
why,
knowledge is you have your head chef, you have your sous chef, and then you have your cooks.
And that was the problem with Discovery, and then that's why that show went through so many reboots. Like season 1 was made as one way, and then season 2 was totally different, even though the writing wasn't good. Tonally, it was more fun, it was more uplifting, there was more humor. Season 3, they go through time 1,000 years into the future. And it's still the same stupid show, but it was like it went through another reboot with 2 showrunners, and then season 4 is the same as season 3, but it's like not getting better. It's
I'm for the belief, and my belief is
I do like the character development of Michael Burnham. She went from being a mutineer, gone to jail, to getting pardoned, back to being a commander. And then she became a captain, which is great.
See, my problem.
Captain of Star Trek Discovery.
My problem when it comes to anything that happens to involve time travel, there's no creativity in the mind whatsoever. It's just lazy writing to try to skip a whole lot of storytelling. That's all. It was
like their way of fixing the canon problems. Like they gave Spock a half sister. They're bringing in Spock. Oh, wait a minute. His half sister's ever mentioned in TOS. What do? Oh. We take this ship Discovery and we throw it 1,000 years into the future. And then Spock decides to give out orders or tells the Federation to make the existence of the Discovery ship completely classified forever. Classified. And for anybody to talk about it would be considered high treason and will have their careers ruined and would be imprisoned. And it's like, and it leaves so much questions beyond that.
It's not just
but that was like they're the only way that they could answer a canonical problem, and it was still so stupid because
they tried to answer a canonical problem.
It was because
that created more problems for canonical.
And it was because they put themselves in that position. They put themselves because Brian Fuller left. He put in 2 jackasses in charge that just decided to make the main character a woman of color, the sister of Spock. And then we're bringing in Spock. And then we're bringing in this and that. But every silver lining, what was great about season 2 of Discovery is that it led to Strange New Worlds. And Strange New Worlds is incredible. It's a great show.
Now, we're going to leave it there because if we continue talking about Star Trek, we're going to end up getting lost in time. And
before we move on, I just want to tell everybody, if you ever start watching Picard, skip season 2. It is absolute shit.
I can vouch for that. I gave up. I haven't even watched.
Just watch season 3. Season 3 is incredible. It's a completely different show. It's amazing.
I haven't watched season 3 yet.
It's amazing.
It hurt. It just hurts so much to just keep.
And and it's amazing. And season 3 is TNG season 8. and it's just incredible. It's so much better than Star Trek Nemesis. It concludes the entire story for the TNG cast. It's such a beautiful 10-hour goodbye to that amazing cast of characters that all got better as actors and have such great fucking chemistry in the last 3 episodes of season 3. The last 3 episodes of chemistry is just amazing.
Now, before anything, we do want to bring this up. Babylon 5.
No, wait. Before we move on to Babylon 5, let's talk about the creator of Babylon 5, J. Michael Straczynski. Today, Wednesday, it's still Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday anymore. It's Thursday. But it's technically Wednesday. I bought the comic book. Listen to
Thank you.
You got Corona?
No.
No.
Corona, John. Corona.
Yeah.
Corona.
You got the COVID shot? The COVID shot killing you?
No.
Okay.
I have a Corona that's over there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyways, J. Michael Straczynski came out with a new comic book called The Madness, issue 1. It's a 6-issue story. So it's going to be coming out every month for 6 months. Issue number 1 is August. Issue 2 is September. 3 October. 4.
So it is an episodic. It's a six series.
4. It's a limited series.
It's a limited series. It's an episodic limited series of six issues.
4 is November, 5 is December, and 6 is January. The Madness is really, really great, and this is like a spoiler review for the first issue. The main character is a female superhero. She goes around stealing money from corrupted governments. She steals a lot of gold. It's worth like billions of dollars in gold to retire as a superhero. And so she could be with the man that she loves and get married and also be with his kids as well, because he has 2 kids. She wants to get married, and those kids are she's going to be their stepmother, and that's going to be her new life. She's going to retire as a superhero. But the government and other superpower people got wind that she stole a lot of money from a very important government. And this government is in negotiations to have this business deal with the U.S. government. But they're going to pull out of the deal. This government in the Middle East is going to pull out of the deal if they do not take care of this issue with this female superhero taking all of their money. They tell the U.S. government, you got to kill this woman. If you don't, we're pulling out of the deal. So the U.S. government decides, okay, we are going to if they pull out of the deal, our soldiers in the Middle East is going to be in war, and hundreds, if not thousands of our soldiers are going to die. Or we kill this woman, stay in the deal, we have some peace in the Middle East, and the soldiers kind of stay, and we make millions of dollars or whatever on this business deal we're going to have with this government in the Middle East, this Islamic government. So the U.S. government uses these superpowered people to deliver this nuclear bomb, this nuclear missile, to kill this female superhero. And they have to use superpowered people because she can't detect the superhero. She can detect regular planes or whatever else, but she can't really detect superheroes. So a superpowered person needs to deliver this bomb. So they deliver the bomb. They blow up the cabin that had her fiance and the 2 kids. They kill the husband. They kill the 2 kids. She survives somehow. And because of her superpowers, the radiation from the nuclear bomb, the explosion, goes into her skin, goes into her body. And she's even more powerful than she was beforehand. And now she's on the warpath to get revenge. And she's going to look for everybody that did what they did. And she's going to kill them all because they killed her family. And so now they've got even bigger crisis, a superhero who's like really powerful that's going to try and murder everybody. And I liked it. I liked the first issue a lot. It has good world building, has some good dialogue, good characterization. It was fun. It introduced the world very quickly. And J. Michael Straczynski is just a brilliant guy. And he created a female character that's not full of feminism or whatever wokeism goes on in Marvel and DC. It's just a good comic book with a character and story, and it starts off almost perfect. And J. Michael Straczynski is a liberal and a Democrat, but he writes characters and story, and he gets to the meat of what makes the characters tick and motivation and like make you care about them somehow. It's really great.
He is someone who you would consider a true liberal because he's not going off on identity politics and nonsense. He's writing. He's making a creation that you, as someone who's on the outside of the vision, is able to come in and enjoy it.
Yeah, and there are great writers who also know how to write and create great characters that are like the opposite of them politically. Like, look at Alan Moore. I mean, the guy is an anarchist and a liberal, and he created Warshock, one of the greatest characters ever written. I mean, Rorschach is a racist, conservative, Republican. Those are there's like the three categories that Alan.
I think we're going a little off topic.
I know, but that's who Rorschach is. And Alan Moore, those are the three types of people that Alan Moore hates the most. And he wrote him anyway and created one of the greatest stories ever in Watchmen. Like, you know, those are the type of writers that know how to do that. That know how to create three-dimensional characters based on people with political affiliations that they don't want anything to do with, right? I mean, those are the best type of fucking writers. Taylor Sheridan is also Democrat, and he writes great conservatives too, but that's another topic. Anyways, the point is, J. Michael Straczynski is just a great writer.
Now, so far we've been talking. Well, Ron's been talking mostly, but we've discussed Star Trek, Strange New World.
I do recommend the comic book though, The Madness. Go buy it. It's $3.99.
So, ladies and gentlemen, $3.99. Is this $3.99 or is this
$3.99?
We just gotta make sure. We gotta make sure it's not a freaking textbook page.
That is so funny. Can you imagine that, selling a single issue for $400, which they do, but that's at an auction.
Mind you, those are not brand new comics.
Those are first issues to the most successful superhero characters of all time. Superman issue number 1, you could get at an auction for $2 million.
If you have $2 million in your spare pocket, in your spare bag, really.
Oh, there are rich people that spend more on that. That auction went high.
I'm sure.
And for Batman issue number 1 was like $2 or $3 million. But I think that was a big ass auction.
Anyways, moving on.
Speaking of auction for comics, so there was this guy that had like old Marvel comics from the 1960s that he collected, and it was like boxes of them in his house. He put them up for auction, and he made like $10 or $15 million at an auction. And these are so many Marvel comics that came out in the 1960s. I mean, the first X-Men, the first Avengers, Hulk, Spider-Man, just ancient shit, just ancient comic books from 60 years ago.
I will not comment because I have my own view of things. I do celebrate the joy that this man was able to profit and improve his life. Hopefully improve his life. Not turn into someone who
it's retirement money for that old man.
I hope so. I hope he's enjoying his vacation. Yeah. Who knows whether it's the cruise line or the Bahamas.
But we're going to move on to the next J. Michael Straczynski project. Babylon 5: The Road Home is coming out in 7 days. I think next Wednesday it's coming out. I bought six. Well, yeah, now. Well, it's Wednesday, 7 days from now.
It's Thursday today, so it'll be 6 days.
It's technically going to be 6 days. Yes, we're getting closer and closer every day. I bought the digital edition and I bought the physical edition, so I can listen to the commentary.
I would advise.
I'm going to watch the movie twice.
I would advise buying the physical edition.
Yeah, I'm going to watch
because a lot of streaming services are going to tell you don't need to keep your physical content, and then they either remove that media or they change it. It's not the same. Stick with physical.
Yeah, speaking of physical, I will be buying the physical edition of Babylon 5, the series on Blu-ray, which is coming out this December.
Anyways, ladies and
gentlemen, which is $150, and that is for 5 seasons in Blu-ray quality. That's definitely worth it. I wish there was more commentary tracks on it. That would have been great, but it's coming out in December. The Babylon 5: The Road Home, I'm getting it digital so I can watch it when it actually premieres. And then the physical will be coming to the house. The physical will be coming to the house through Amazon. So, and the movie got great reviews. It has a great response. People that saw it there at Comic-Con had a really good time.
Yep.
And sadly, because of the SAG strike, the actors at Babylon 5 couldn't be there at San Diego Comic-Con to talk about the movie.
Nope.
It would have been great to get those old cast members together to talk about it. It would have been fun. But sadly, they couldn't be there. They couldn't be there at all. And it would have been cool. Trying to turn it down?
I'm trying to.
There you go. But it's going to be great. I mean, it's cool. Like, what was funny though about this year's San Diego Comic-Con is.
Give me 1 second. I need to get water.
Yeah, what was so funny about this year's San Diego Comic-Con was that because of the WGA strike and the SAG strike, there couldn't be any actors there promoting the shows. So, San Diego Comic-Con had to go back to basics and just sell lots of comic books. Comic-Con had to actually be itself. Instead of a movie convention, really. I was just saying on the live stream how
oh, there goes the water.
It's okay. I was just telling them
we are going to mourn the loss of about maybe 535 milliliters of water that
right.
spilled. We're going to mourn the loss. Give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Steve, I was just telling them that because of the WGA strike and the SAG strike, this year's the San Diego Comic-Con had to go back to basics and sell comic books.
Thank God.
Like, because before this year, for about 20 years, San Diego Comic-Con was like a movie convention. Well, it was a movie convention
it was mostly,
and a TV convention.
It was mostly TV shows and movies.
With comic books being there.
Comic books are just an afterthought. Now they got to go back to being what they were actually about.
And it's going to be,
books.
and it's crazy. It's probably going to be like that this New York City Comic Con as well. Because the SAG strike and the WGA strike goes on through September into October. Like Saturday.
I will confess this. Because the WGA, SAG-AFTRA, whatever strike is going on at this point, it's too many acronyms. I'm still trying to figure out.
It's just the SAG and WGA strike.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out city agencies. To the point, I didn't even know we had a DHT or some stupid crap. However, because this strike is going on, conventions will be able to invite other guests to alleviate the burdens of needing to fill up space.
No, what's going to happen at New York City Comic Con is that they will also have to go back to basics.
I'm not
and
saying
just
no.
sell comic books.
No, I'm not saying no.
They're going to do it too.
I'm not saying no. They're going to sell comic books. They're going to sell comic books.
Yeah.
But we'll also invite other people who will be able to provide some form
Which
of
means
attraction.
Midtown Comics will be extra busy this year at New York City Comic Con. Like Midtown Comics would be extra busy. And also, but wait. If that's the case, then it's like I bought my Saturday pass for nothing because season 5 of Star Trek Discovery is going to be the last season, which means if the SAG and WGA strike keeps on going, that means the cast of Star Trek Discovery is not going to be there on Saturday at New York City Comic Con. They're not going to be there. And that means that whole panel is probably going to have boring ass Alex Kurtzman that nobody even fucking likes. So I just spent $80 for Alex Kurtzman. What a great fucking L. What an amazing L. Because he's still a producer and he's also has directing credits. So he actually could be there. He actually can be there.
Now,
but he's also a writer. So it could be a conflict of interest too.
It is a conflict of interest.
It could be
a writer, producer.
So I mean,
if he's an actor.
Akiva Goldsman is definitely not going to be there because Akiva Goldsman is the co-showrunner on Strange New Worlds, and he is a director, but he's not. So Akiva Goldsman's not going to be there. So I mean, what are they going to do with Star Trek Discovery? They're just going to premiere trailers. I'm just going to go to this big ass area just to watch trailers for an hour. I mean, you can do that at home.
You can do that online on cable television, really. But anyways,
you do it on YouTube at home.
Before we progress, where I would love to talk to you all. I would love to talk to you all with so much intent. If you like this content, you'll enjoy hearing us talk about nerd topic, culture, and all things nerdish.
Are we done?
No.
What are we talking about?
Do the pitch. Leave a like, subscribe.
Yes.
And if you want to
like subscribe
with our videos and what we're doing,
because we still got to talk about other
nerd
things.
Video, or it's a video about nerd topic or nerd culture, or if it's just random nonsense, or maybe comedy, humor, joke, personal thoughts and opinions about the weather and such things, click that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell.
So like and subscribe.
And remember, when you click it, the algorithm tells you, "Hey, new video for you, you."
And so what else are we going to talk about? We're talking about comic books and manga. That's the next topic.
The next topic.
Comic books and manga.
Oh, the next topic. I'm going to love this one. He's probably going to hate me for this. But we're going to talk about the comic book. I want to say comic book industry as a whole because it covers and encompasses Marvel, DC, which I guess is Warner Brothers and Disney.
The comic book industry is doing the best it's been since in like 10 or 15 years.
Now,
years.
this is true. This is true, but this is
So
something that a lot of people are saying otherwise.
So
yes, it's doing better. It is doing the best it has.
The only people that are
10
saying
years.
that, the only people who are saying that are anti-woke people
No,
who are just going to ignore facts and statistics, like Comics with Your Boy Zach, who is an absolute jackass, who will just say that the comic book industry is failing because of the woke hogwash of the left of Marvel Comics and DC Comics and white women who are milkshake girls
I'm gonna have to
with glasses.
I'm gonna have to tag him into the video so that he knows we're mentioning him.
Yeah,
Now,
we can tag him too.
I don't want to mention this.
The problem is the comic book industry is doing great.
It's doing great.
It's doing great.
However,
In 2020, 2021, they brought in they made $1.2 billion, $2 billion. They're hugely successful. Yes, and manga is more successful. But manga has a bigger audience, so that's not fair.
It is fair.
It's not fair.
It is fair.
It's not fair.
It is
It's not fair.
So
How many people live in the Asian market? 2 billion people. How many people live? 2 billion. 2 billion. It's 2 billion. That's the numbers we. No, that's the numbers we basically added up. It's 2 billion.
Something.
No, it's 2 billion. Whatever. 2 billion. Let's round it.
Your math's off.
No, rounding it to 2 billion.
2 billion. If it's 2
That's a
billion,
big audience. Of course, manga is selling ad nauseum. And don't act like they don't have liberal politics either. Like Japan is a super feminist country. It's a matriarchy. If your manga and your anime or your movie doesn't appeal to the female audience in Japan, you're most likely going to tank, with very few exceptions.
I want to say this.
Why do you think Godzilla movies started flopping in the 2000s? Because women in Japan at that time didn't care about Godzilla. Now they like Godzilla because of the politics.
I want to say this. We're talking about now. At no point in time did we go back.
No, now women in Japan. Women in Japan.
It's a hyper conservative matriarchy.
The movie going audience, yes, the movie going and the book reading audience is mostly a matriarchy. But now Godzilla is popular because Hideki Anno added in a lot of politics into his Godzilla movie that will be appealing to the Japanese audience. The Japanese people were very pissed off at their government for how they handled the earthquake and the tsunami aftermath. The aftermath was an absolute clusterfuck from taking too long to do things because of their democracy, having to go to this person, that person, that person, that person to get the okay from that person through all these other fucking people. And a lot of people were dying and suffering and left with nothing. Okay. That's what I'm just saying. That's what the Godzilla 2016 movie was about. It was about the aftermath of how the Japanese government handled the crisis of the earthquake, the tsunami, and the nuclear fallout from the nuclear radiation at their power plant. And them not even being honest about what was even going on with that plant until all that radiation was in the Pacific Ocean, and who knows how many people got cancer, right? Anyways, but because of that, I know, but I want to finish with this. But because of that, because Hideki Anno did all that, and because the movie was so great, the movie was a box office juggernaut in Japan and made almost $100 million like in Japan's currency. It was a huge hit. It was number one at the box office in Japan.
If it's 100 million yen, it's more
right, but it almost made that. It was number one at the box office.
It's like $1 is like 1.5 to 2.
It was number one at the box office. It was number one at the box office in Japan for almost 2 months, and it was a juggernaut at the box office. And it won 7 Japanese Academy Awards, including Best Director for Hideki Anno and Best Picture because he was also producer. It's really his crowning achievement next to the Evangelion show and movies. But that's why the Godzilla movie was a hit, because they were putting in politics, and women in Japan are really into politics, and they're very big on politics. So it was a freaking hit.
Now, I want to mention this. Yes, the argument about the American comic book industry failing, it can be made. However, it has to be made accordingly. Say the new line of comic books for Marvel or DC, they're not selling well. They're doing bad. That's an argument that can be made. To say that the whole
can't even be proven at all, because the statistics shown that American comic books are just doing well across the board.
I'm not talking about no.
Whether new comic books are selling.
We're going into the statistics on a general consensus. I'm going into a specific level. So say Captain Marvel comics, which
DC Comics, I will say DC is struggling. Marvel Comics is always doing better than DC because of the success of their movies and their shows. Not as successful as they could, But the Marvel Comics isn't going bankrupt yet. DC Comics could go bankrupt.
No, it is possible, and we'll get to that part in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm saying, what I think he's misinterpreting is, if you say Captain Marvel from Marvel, Captain Marvel comics from Marvel are not doing well, they're rebooting it. Okay, you can make that argument. Nobody likes Captain Marvel, so it's failing. Same thing with the new comics from DC. I don't know too much about DC characters. I know some characters. My knowledge is not sufficient enough to even truly comment on that matter. I don't know about the characters and their well-beings. I don't know their origins and such. I know sufficient enough to get by. Not a lot. If their comics are not doing well, yes, then the comics are failing for those characters or for that line or for that universe or whatever reboot is. To say that the whole industry itself is failing, no, it cannot be said, because the statistical evidence versus the linear graphs, because we're going to go on a linear here, that show that the comic book industry is just going up.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, that was not possible.
And one thing, and at the end of the day, most people in the general population do not care about culture wars. They just want to see what they see. Look at Barbie. Barbie is very liberal, very feminist, very woke. But it's a box office smash hit. It's made $1 billion.
It's more so.
It's gonna
craving something that is not rehashed, not
yeah.
going over
I mean,
and over and over.
it's
Something
the movie,
new, something that allows them the ability
Barbie,
to see and crave and
yeah.
enjoy.
And Barbie is it's already made $1 billion. It's probably going to pass up the Super Mario Brothers movie by next month. And it's like, people just don't want to keep seeing the same thing. Barbie offered something really new. It was a new film. It was a product placement movie with a great story that had existential themes. And it had great acting from everybody. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was exciting. And unlike She-Hulk, it wasn't offensive to men. It wasn't anti-men. It was feminist in a positive way, where spoilers, so I hate spoilers.
Well,
but
it's been 2 weeks now.
The movie, it's been a month, dude. But it's been almost a month.
Spoilers
for this, but Ken and the male Kens become very toxic assholes. But what was so great at the end of the film is that Barbie and Ken reconciled, and she forgave him, and he was sorry for what he did, and it was just great. It wasn't like they were putting down men. It was more of like criticizing dorks in patriarchal society that creates double standards for women in society, in the job force, whatever else. But I love how Barbie reconciled, and it wasn't like man-hating like that. And, the far right people on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, they don't really know what to do, because this movie keeps making money. And they've been making careers out of doing rage reactions to movies like this. And this film is just making so much money and is killing Mission Impossible 7 at the box office. And Oppenheimer is taking away showings from IMAX and premium screenings, because Oppenheimer is also a masterpiece. That movie is a masterpiece. And then that's going to be in IMAX theaters for another week or two. I even managed to get tickets for me and my mother to see on her birthday.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. Happy birthday to your mom.
Yeah. It's her birthday. Yeah, it's her birthday next Friday. And we are going to go see Oppenheimer. We are going. And it's going to be 3 hours long, so hopefully we won't eat or drink too much where she has to go to the bathroom. It's 3 hours. But, man, that movie is just incredible.
Make sure you eat, drink before you go anywhere, before you leave the house, and then use the bathroom before you leave the house. Or if you have to, before you watch the movie.
I know, but my mother is pushing 80, so.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that's going to work. I'm just saying, it'll help in the long run.
Now, I hope I'll have enough money just to get 1 popcorn and 2 sodas.
I do want to mention this: that manga is outselling U.S. comics, American comics. Yes, why? There's a larger audience in the East that craves.
I was almost going to interrupt you and say that.
Foresight, sir. Foresight. Logic.
I was like, we already went through this.
But it's about a 2 billion plus population in the East
that reads this stuff ad nauseum.
That loves, that enjoys, desires, and wishes to consume manga as a medium.
And you get a lot more stuff for $10. You get a lot more. And the problem with American comic books, you get single issues that are so short, and now they are $4. See, when they were 99 cents, this was great, right?
50 cents.
It used to be 99 cents when I was a kid.
I'm going further back to when my dad was a kid.
Yeah. No, they used to be 50 cents. But I'm saying that single issue comic books used to be 50 cents. When I was a kid, they were $1, and sometimes they were $1.50. Depending on the popularity of the comic, how long it's been out, it was $2, right? And that was
150.
yeah, and or $2 or $1.50, right? And that was now they're $4, and you're getting issues that are like maybe 20 pages long. And I only bought the Madness today because I love J. Michael Straczynski. I'm going to buy his Captain America run because he's back to writing for Marvel Comics. He's writing for Captain America.
No, I'm worried. It's not that he's
believe me. No. First of all, Marvel would have never got back J. Michael Straczynski unless it was for certain he was going to have full control and get to do what he wanted.
I hope so.
No. We know J. Michael Straczynski. That guy doesn't fuck around. If he doesn't get his way, he's gone. So he got his way. So those milkshake girls are not going to fuck with him.
Thank God.
They're not doing anything. Okay. The milkshake girls do not exist as far as he's concerned.
And no, their milkshakes do not bring boys to the yards. I don't care about that.
Milkshake girls.
That was a terrible song for the
milkshake girls. Yeah, I mean, and J. Michael Straczynski is just the guy is a fucking genius. I love him.
Now I want to say this: manga is outselling American comics, not just because of the population in the East, but because it is a medium that provides an actual escapism for a lot of people. Whereas the argument can be said that American comics no longer provide that escapism. It can also be said that it does provide that escapism. Depends as to who you're going with and what issues you're going for, what characters. That gets more into a graphical area of pie charts, statistics with a whole graph. I don't want to go that way. Manga is outselling most likely because the alternatives that are available. See, American comics tend to offer into a one direction, which is the nitty-gritty superhero, rough, tough type of genre of people that like comics. Manga is very diverse. You have manga for every genre, every person, and every interest. This is something that American Comics has been struggling with for how many years has it been now? 20 years? They're struggling to get something new and creative out there that's not superhero related.
And they do it all the time. They do it all the time. Vertigo, AWA, and Humanoids, who I fucking love. And Humanoids would not be what it is without Alejandro Jodorowsky and Mobius. So they are always taking creative risks. And luckily, they get to do what they want in France and make the comic books they want. And Humanoids in France, they take forever to make a comic book story. And they're not pigeonholed to a monthly release, right? They're not constantly pump it out and the quality getting worse or occasionally great. But that when you're doing quantity over quality, the quality is going to suffer. In France, it takes them years to finish a comic. That's why the Incal, when it first got made by Alejandro Jodorowsky and Mobius back in the 80s, it took 8 years for it to fully come out. It took 8 years for that whole story, and that was 6 issues, 6 long issues, and 6 issues in 6 parts. It took 8 years, and for the Meta Barons, it took 11 years, from 1992 to 2003. Techno Priests, it took...
I'll order a shake.
I can't hear you.
I will order a shake.
You did?
I'm going to.
I think it's coming.
I'm just on my part right here.
I think it's coming. Okay. But and Techno Priests took 8 years to get released.
What was that one with the blade?
Huh?
Something blade. I'm trying to remember the name of the comic. I'll find it eventually.
Metabaron?
Huh?
Metabaron?
No, something Blade. Blade isn't the name. Something Blade.
Well, yeah, they weren't doing that. But Techno Priest...
I'll find the name and I'll mention it.
Techno Priest took 8 years, from, I think, 1996 to 2004. Before the Incal, which is the prequel to the Incal, which is great, that got made in 1988, and they weren't done with that until 1996. And then the final Incal started to get made in 2008. It wasn't done until 2014. And now Jodorowsky is currently doing the Meta Baron, not the Meta Barons, a comic book called the Meta Baron. And I think he's still working on it. So it's just France really takes its time because it's not pigeonholed by monthly shit. But
it's not,
yeah,
it's
Humanoids
not,
is fucking awesome.
They don't follow the American comic standard, which is American comics. You need to have an issue out every.
They take their time.
American comics push issues out faster than anything, and the story suffers over lately.
Sometimes
yeah.
And the only reason why I remember the great ones is because those were the ones that stood out. There were a lot of Marvel and DC comics that came out in the 80s that were shit. We just remember the great ones like The Dark Knight Returns from Frank Miller. We remember Watchmen from Vertigo. We remember The Sandman from the 90s, which was made from Vertigo.
Let me go to my ship.
Yeah, go get that shit. We remember Sandman from the 90s with Vertigo and Neil Gaiman. We remember oh God, what else do we remember? We remember Frank Miller's run on Daredevil, which was back in the 80s before he did Batman the Dark Knight. We remember all of those. Now, of course, if you're a famous comic book writer who is an auteur that people love, you're also going to remember the bad shit that they made too. In this case, Frank Miller. We remember The Dark Knight Strikes Back. That comic book was shit. It was totally terrible. Terrible artwork, terrible dialogue and story, but it was entertaining and really kind of, it had a weird vibe and it was very wacky as shit, right? And then there was Batman and the Brave and the Bold. Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. That comic book was terrible and it was hysterical. And I will mention why it's hysterical when Steve comes back from ordering his shake. One of the funniest panels freaking ever. Okay, cool. So you remember in Batman,
so long.
Remember Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder? Remember that hysterical panel where Batman is yelling at Robin? And then the last thing he says in that panel was, "Do you know who I am? I'm the goddamn Batman." That was so terrible. That was so fucking funny.
Why was that written in there? You know what it sounded like? It sounded like
that was a meme too. Before memes ever became a big thing, that was a meme among comic book circles.
I will say
that was so funny.
I will say this: that one panel alone was enough for anyone to say, "What?" Still have a laugh. They would laugh and be like, "What? Batman wouldn't say that." Oh, Batman might say it, but not in that manner, and not in an argument yelling at Robin. He would just either walk away quietly and then have Robin do something as a punishment out. I don't know.
And the comic book ended well, which is why I wish they never canceled it. Like, the sales were shit, so they had to, and I understand. But it ended like with Batman taking Robin to see his parents' graveyard, where it's because his parents had died and that was his grave. And they tell you, and then Bruce Wayne finally opens up and becomes more intimate, and he opens up about his parents dying, and they're both suffering, and then they give each other a really big hug and they're crying. I'm like, that's a good ending. Let's see a continuation. Nope, sales was shit. It got canceled. At least it ended well.
At least they had the desire to end it on a high note.
But that wasn't the end of Frank Miller's run, sir. No, it wasn't. He decided
Frank Miller is
that was not the end of his Batman run. He did it. He did it again for the fourth time. He came out with The Dark Knight Returns Master Race, which I can't wait to read. I blind bought that comic book, and people have told me it's shit. And then there are other people who said Frank Miller is back. Like, Frank Miller did a great fucking job. Have you read it?
No. I was disappointed with his lines lately. It's like, I think Frank Miller might need a hiatus.
Well, it's because Frank Miller got sick. That's why. Like, mentally, he's dealing with like a mental medical condition where he can't really draw anymore. He could write, but he can't like draw. And I feel like it impaired his creativity.
I believe so.
I really do.
Well, no, I believe so because Frank Miller is the kind of person when he was able to draw and write.
I saw Frank Miller in person once, and he looked like a homeless guy. Like he looked like shit. I remember I saw him in person. That was at New York City Comic Con. I saw him from afar, and I was like, boy, if this dude is still alive in 15 years, I'll be shocked. And he's still alive, so I'm shocked. he is alive. He is still kicking.
Somehow defied death.
He is just going.
He has told death is not.
And in all that time, he made the Sin City sequel that should have come out 6 years prior, but it came out in 2014, and it was a piece of shit. It was one of the worst movies of 2014.
Sequels will always do shit.
It was truly fucking
Sequels
terrible.
will always do shit. There are only rare circumstances where a sequel will do good. Now
but I did like that Jessica Alba, her character. What's her character's name? Nancy?
Was it Nancy?
I'm glad that in the sequel she got to kill the people that killed the man that she loved who saved her when she was a kid. I was happy she got her revenge and killed all those motherfuckers. That was cool.
No,
and that was like the last, and that's like the one performance where Jessica Alba is good in. Like she's the worst actress on planet Earth. I mean, she's beautiful, but that woman has been nominated and has won more Razzie Awards than I can. Like she could give Sylvester Stallone a run for his money. But I loved her in Dark Angel.
How? Sylvester Stallone at least does better.
No, Sylvester Stallone has the most Razzie nominations.
Oh.
Yeah. And the most Razzie victories. No.
I was like,
what are
you talking about?
No, he doesn't have the most Razzie victories, but I think he's won like 3 or 4 Razzie Awards out of the 14 or 15 Razzie nominations he has. So,
David Sylvester, what did you do?
No, and Sylvester Stallone is a really good actor, but he's also a really shitty actor at the same time. And he has been in so many shitty movies. That's why he gets the Razzie nomination.
No, I want to say
No. Just because someone gets nominated for a Razzie Award doesn't mean that the performance is terrible. I'll give you an example. The Last Duel. Ben Affleck was fucking awesome in that movie. He gave such a great performance in that movie. He stole the movie, and he was nominated for a Razzie Award. Why? Because his French accent was awful. His French accent was terrible. Okay, fine. But still, he was great. The performance itself was good.
Why do I feel like that would be an ironic laughter of wow, that's fucked up. It's deserved.
Yeah, his French accent.
Ben Affleck can't. No, Ben Affleck is very
Nancy.
limited to his.
It was Nancy.
Yeah. Okay. No, but Ben Affleck, from the way he speaks and the way he's spoken in many roles, he's very limited to how far he can even move his own pitch and tone to convey an accent. He's very limited to that. That's how I see it. That's how I always believed it. And it's not that it's easy or that it's extremely hard. It's something that takes practice. And people who are able to do it, I applaud them. I admire them. People who struggle to do it, I only encourage them to keep trying. I'm able to do I can do a few. I know which ones are my strong suit, which ones are my weakness, my strong suits. And I need to practice more on doing the accents. What are you looking at now?
Razzie
Awards?
I'm looking at.
He's looking at the Razzie Awards. Don't worry. And anyways, This is where we're going to come up to our final subject, our final topic of the night, because it is now 1 almost 1:05 a.m. Is it? It's 1:06 a.m. Excuse me. The last topic on our list. Let's check it off real quick. So our last subject.
The reviews for the madness have come in on Twitter from comic book people.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
So this is all right. So while it's coming in, we'll do a video on that. But our last topic is the terrible state in which the game community is in about the Red Dead Redemption port.
Oh God, what a disaster! What has happened to Rockstar? They have fallen apart these last 5 years.
When they say they're gonna port it over, I would expect a very minimal job, if anything. It's gonna be bugged up and whatnot. I don't know why people got excited about it. Rockstar is notorious for ports that are bad, or more or less just 360, PS4. There you go, same thing, just new console. And I know a lot of people are upset about it. I understand that they're upset. However, the demand for 60 FPS 4K, I'm not able to follow. I don't care about graphics. Never have. My eyesight, as you can see, I wear glasses. So, for what reason would I care about?
Brandon isn't
pixels?
coming. He's not coming for Halo Night.
He said he was not coming a while ago.
Yeah, he works tomorrow.
Yeah, he said he works.
I just saw it. Okay, but go ahead.
But
Rockstar Games being a clusterfuck. What's going on?
They can't port. All they do is port things over from the same state they were released in the last console. That's all that's their notorious reputation.
I think the reason why though their ports have been a mess and they're letting other studios do them is because they're entirely focused on GTA 6. So let's hope GTA 6 is great. It's not coming out until like early 2025. I hope it's a great game. I don't know. But it's just, I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know. They used to, it's like a lot of these studios I grew up loving in the 2000s are just, have not aged gracefully.
Well, And I want
not
to say,
aging gracefully.
I want to say,
But
that,
one studio that is aging brilliantly.
which one is that?
And not just From Software.
No,
that have gotten better. From Software has gotten greater as time gone on.
Extremely great.
No, From Software is one of the few studios makes AAA games that got better with each decade. The other one is Larian Studios, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
they've been making video
breaking
games.
records.
They've been making video games since 2002, and they have perfected their craft for Baldur's Gate 3, and people are loving it. It's apparently a phenomenal game, and the sales are surpassing even their expectations. They wanted to sell 1 million copies, and they sold 3 million on PC. And they're still breaking records, and it's just a huge hit. I cannot wait to play it.
I cannot wait to buy it.
Well,
on PC. I cannot wait to buy it on PC because PC is where it's at.
No, I know, and it's actually a great PC release. I know PC gamers have been fucked this year. I mean, PC gamers have gotten this work, bro. Like, Forspoken was shit. The Last of Us Part 1 was a shit release. Broken. Busted. And Redfall was broken. And Jedi Survivor
was broken
on PC. Yo, PC gamers,
what was the most
they were getting this work. They were getting this work.
And you know, it's funny because
the worst launches I've ever. I thought Cyberpunk 2077 was the worst launch of all time, but 2020
it was for PC and console.
But 2023 has proven me wrong instantly. Like from January to May,
August now.
From January to May, PC releases were
terrible.
I'm
now,
like,
this is not to say that all PC releases will be terrible. Hopefully, they're not. God willing, they're resolved and they start coming out as they should. The problem is
the PC ports were just a mess, bro.
The problem is that it seems like PC is becoming an afterthought for console 1 and console 2, and it's more so that console players feel that they're entitled at this point. PlayStation players, especially PlayStation fans, the most that are asking for. I know this is off topic, but they're asking for some Xbox exclusive games to be on PlayStation. I'm thinking,
and I'm getting ready to play Starfield. I've been playing some.
Bethesda. Oh, you heard about the Killer Instinct anniversary thing, the 10-year update that they're gonna have for that?
For what?
They brought Killer Instinct.
The game?
Killer Instinct.
Never played it.
Fighting game, you gotta play it. It's the best.
But I'm getting ready to play Starfield on Xbox. I just started playing some Bethesda games on my Xbox Series X. I just started playing Skyrim. I'm playing some Skyrim on Xbox Series X.
I downloaded Skyrim the other night.
I'm like getting used to the controls of a Bethesda game on the Xbox. I haven't played a Bethesda game on an Xbox since Oblivion.
I wonder how long it takes you to play again.
I'm going to play some Oblivion 2. I'm going to play Fallout 3. Going to get that ready. And I'm going to play some Fallout 4. I'm not going to be able to beat these games by the time Starfield comes out because all these games are 60-hour games. So, and I got things I really want to do too. So I got TV shows to watch and books to read.
I've got a backlog on my PlayStation and I've got a bunch of games on my library.
Yeah, I know. I'm still also playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm still playing the Lies of P demo, which is fucking awesome. And I got to play Armored Core 6, which is coming out August 25th.
This is going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun.
But I'm not going to be playing Armored Core 6 after 2 days because I'm going to be playing Starfield because I paid the $31 for the premium edition. So I'm getting the game 5 days early.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I'm getting it 5 days early. So, and this is the first time I'm playing a Bethesda game live on launch for since Morrowind. And Morrowind did not have a lot of bugs and glitches, but Bethesda is known for bugs and glitches. So I'm ready to experience it all, and I'm going to see if I can live stream it on my Xbox Series X.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of our stream. It is now past closing time. Yeah. It is now past time to go home. And it is now past time to get some fucking sleep.
Yeah, can't even play the Wild Rift game. League of Legends. We have no time to play it.
Possibly do. I don't know, but we'll check it out.
Maybe we can play the food game with Blaine. We can play the food game. See if we can do that.
We can do that, yes.
That'd be hilarious.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let you go.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Babylon 5, the road home in 7 days. It's going to be great. Talk to you guys later.
Stay tuned. Have a good night.
And if you're in New York, go to the Paris Theater. It's been saved by Netflix, and Netflix has fixed it up, and the theater I think it's gonna be great.
Speaking
I
of
think
which,
the
is
theater's gonna be
Netflix
great.
is Netflix still doing that? They'll lease out their well, they'll send their production team if you have an idea for a story for a show for them. Are they still doing that?
Doing what?
Yeah, that's a topic I'll.
No, what are they doing? What are you asking?
Like, if you have an idea, you can let Netflix know. They'll give you, well, they'll have their crew work with you for that idea to put on their streaming service. No,
I hope they do that.
I hope they still have that idea.
I have a book
I
idea that I haven't written down for like 23 years. Maybe I could just turn it into a show. Fuck
I've
it.
got a few ideas. Some gruesome, some great, some wow, what the fuck? I can't wait to see that.
But that's not happening during a writer's strike and action.
No, of course not, I'd rather hire some.
And sadly, the WGA had a meeting with studio executives to restart negotiations, and within one day, it completely fell apart. So the strike is still just going to keep on going.
I told you this was going to be a longer strike.
No, I knew that too.
I told you it was going to go on.
No, I know. I knew that too. I was hoping, but the studio executives are just, they don't give a fuck.
I'll be doing a video on the
They
strike.
give less of a fuck than they did 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago. They give less of a fuck now. You know?
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to go.
All right, guys.
We
Live
thank
long
you
and
for staying.
prosper. Saw Star Trek. New episode premiering in 2 hours.
Have a good night.
By the time I get home, I'll be
Stay
watching
tuned. We hope to see you again next time.
it. See y'all.
Until then, take care.
Take care.